Okay, so a new week, a new beginning. So we're still going to stay in Rome essentially for today, but what we're finally going to start doing is talking about artists from outside of Italy. So we're going to now start to make our move out of Italy. Um, so we have today's class is mostly focused on the French painter Nicolas Poussin and a Belgian sculptor, Francois Duquesnoy, although less Duquesnoy and more Poussin. And then next class, on Wednesday, we'll talk about the Flemish painter Peter Paul Rubens. How many of you have heard of Poussin before? That few? Really? Oh my God, he's like one of the most important painters of the 17th century. How many of you have heard of Jacques-Louis David? More of you. You would not have David if you didn't have Poussin. So Poussin is incredibly important. How many of you have heard of Rubens? Okay, I thought more of you would hear of Rubens. How many of you have been to the AGO and seen the Massacre of Venice? Okay. So that's our Wednesday class, and they seem as if they're on polar ends of the Baroque spectrum in terms of kind of Baroque classicism and a Baroque painterliness. We'll talk a little bit about these polarities today. And in many ways, they were regarded as such. In fact, Poussin becomes the model in France. By the end of the 17th century, he becomes the model of academic painting in France that lasts really essentially up until the Impressionists. But even in France, there were debates about whether or not Poussin should be the model. It's a very crisp, clean, clear classicism, or whether Rubens, and this is even in France, or whether Rubens should be the model of having that expressive brushwork and vibrancy and energy and intuitive qualities of painting. So we'll talk maybe a little bit about that on the last class. We'll actually end with France and that kind of establishment of the significant academy in France. But we have to also finish up with our last class. I needed just a few more minutes to finish up with Borromini and the Church of San Carlo Borromeo or San Carlino in Rome. And there is a tie-in. I have a tie-in to make it work with today's lecture. Something funky has gone on. There's a bug that has messed around with little bits of information there, but that's okay. We're talking about this on Monday. So we left off with the Church of San Carlino for the Spanish Trinitarians, and which was largely paid for, although money started to mostly stopped paying money towards the end of the construction. Cardinal Francesco Barberini, whose palace is just down the road this way, the Barberini Palace. The facade, sculptural quality, the way it plays with the tectonics of posts and lintels and this massive entablature that helps weigh down what is really a very vertically oriented facade. And then bending it and molding it as if it's made not out of stone, but more out of clay and more malleable material. The church itself was actually meant for a very small monastic complex or convent for the Trinitarians to be housed in. So Borromini's commission does not just include the church here, you see the facade there, but also this cloister space here. here is this very small, tiny courtyard space for the cloister. And the cloister is where the members of the Trinitarians, the monks of the order, essentially perambulate, walk around in circles the cloister.
Just regarding like the outside of the church, I was
Yeah.
wondering, like the shield-looking frame thing
Oh, the
on
coat
top.
of arms.
Yeah, I was wondering if anything originally was in that, or if we just
There
can't
was
see it in this
originally a fresco of, it was a fresco painting, I don't entirely remember if it was a Trinity or if it was a fresco. I feel like it was a fresco of Charles Borromeo. Either a story from his life or his ascension, something like that. But yeah, it was originally had a fresco painting in there. Yeah, and there actually is. You'll see, not only is it prominent, but also this is one thing Borromini likes to do, and we saw Bernini do this as well, is when you have something that is kind of symbolically significant and takes on greater significance, using the architectural and making it seem as if the architecture is giving way and moving itself to give space to that important element. So you see, he breaks up this concave convex pattern. So we have the concave, and then instead of continuing that convex form, it becomes this really sudden concave again. So it's as if the architecture itself, as it's starting to bend and mold, this is too heavy an element for it to actually push or move. So yeah, that's a good point. I'll look up this to see, I don't remember what the fresco is. Okay, so the cloister space is just a simple space to get water, but also to kind of walk around in circles as you kind of recite prayers throughout the day. So it is simply decorated, simply ornamented. You don't want the distractions as you walk around, but at the same time you want it to be fairly intimate, to feel comfortable while you're there. Borromini has chosen essentially the Tuscan order, the simplest of orders, which fits the outdoor space, the basic functional space that it is, and for the kind of humble activity of walking around this reciting prayers. But rather than just keeping it a square courtyard, we see Borromini cut in to the corners with these slightly curved edges, as if he's beveled the corners here. And what that does is it in your vision, in your sense of vision, you get this kind of empathetic reaction of circularity, of perambulation. So it kind of helps with that notion of moving around in circles. And then you get its simplicity, it's all monochrome. It's simplistic, but then you just get this one simple flourish, little place where Borromini gets to insert his inventiveness and imagination in the balusters here, where he inverts, he alternates the pattern of them being upside down and right side out, just to create a bit more of a rhythmic effect through the balusters. Instead of being repetitive, now it kind of alternates and gives it a little bit more rhythm. The inside of the church is also monochromatic, less decorative, except for the altarpieces with the gilded frames. But Borromini here is given over a little bit more to the careful carving and sculpting of forms. And he's chosen a different order that is more fitting for a church space. The Corinthian order, or actually it might be composite. Composite order, a taller, slenderer proportioned columns, more refined order. these columns, just to give you that extra sense of a kind of sculpted interior, again, playing on the tectonics, but also in essence reinforcing the artifice, reinforce the effect that this is a sculpted interior, not just an architectural interior. The columns are not engaged columns, they're against the wall, but they're not engaged columns, meaning they're not half columns stuck to the wall. They're actually freestanding columns that have been essentially embedded into the architectural forms, into the sculptural forms, as if carved out.